Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a storm and there's just no way out? One thing after another goes wrong. The walls feel like they're closing in, and that little voice in your head starts whispering that things will never get better. It's a heavy, suffocating feeling, and if you're there right now, I want you to know you're not alone. I've been there, and so have countless others. Today, we're not just going to talk about this feeling, we're going to talk about how to find a glimmer of light, a spark of hope, even in the darkest moments. Let's be real for a second. When you're in that state, hearing someone say just be positive is probably the most unhelpful advice ever. It can feel dismissive, like your struggle isn't valid. The truth is, feeling sad, angry, or defeated is a completely normal human response to difficult situations. The first step to finding hope isn't to pretend the darkness doesn't exist. It's to acknowledge it. Sit with that feeling for a moment. Say to yourself, this is hard. This really sucks right now. And it's okay that I feel this way. By giving yourself permission to feel, you take away the pressure of pretending. And that alone can lift a small part of the weight. You're not fighting your feelings anymore. You're just observing them. This is your starting point. Now, from that place of acceptance, let's try something. We're going to shrink our focus. When everything feels overwhelming, it's often because we're looking at the giant, tangled mess of the future. We're thinking about next week, next month, next year, and all the things that could go wrong. Instead, let's bring our attention all the way back to this very moment. Just this one. What is one tiny thing you can do right now that isn't terrible? It doesn't have to be good or productive. It just has to be neutral. Can you take a deep breath? Go ahead. Do it with me. Inhale, and exhale. That's one. Can you feel the chair you're sitting on or the ground beneath your feet? Can you take a sip of water? These actions are incredibly small, but they anchor you to the present. They prove that you can still do something. You have a tiny bit of control in this moment, and that's where hope begins to take root. It's not about solving the whole problem. It's about surviving this single minute. Once you're anchored in the present, let's look for a crack of light. I'm not asking you to find a blazing sun. I'm asking you to look for a single star. This is about gratitude, but with a twist. Don't force yourself to be grateful for the big things that might feel out of reach. Instead, look for the smallest, most mundane thing that is okay. Is your t-shirt comfortable? Did you have a cup of coffee this morning that tasted all right? Can you hear a bird singing outside? The goal here is to train your brain to notice that not everything is 100% bad. Even if 99% of your world is on fire, there's still that 1% that isn't. Maybe it's the fact that you have a roof over your head, or maybe it's just that you found a matching pair of socks. Acknowledge it. This isn't about ignoring your pain. It's about recognizing that your pain is not the only thing that exists. This simple act of noticing shifts your perspective, even if just for a second. Next, let's talk about movement. When we feel hopeless, our bodies tend to shut down. We want to curl up and disappear. But physiology has a powerful effect on our psychology. I'm not going to tell you to go run a marathon. But can you stand up and stretch for 30 seconds? Can you walk to the kitchen and back? Can you step outside and feel the air on your face for just 1 minute? Moving your body, even in the smallest way, sends signals to your brain that you are not completely stuck. It creates a physical shift that can precede an emotional one. Think of it like trying to start a car on a cold morning. At first, the engine just sputters. But you keep trying, and eventually, it catches a little bit of movement as you turning the key. It might not feel like it's working at first, but it's a necessary step. Now let's address the narrative in your head. The story you tell yourself during these times is incredibly powerful. Often, that story is something like, I'm a failure, or nothing ever works out for me. This is what psychologists call catastrophic thinking. We need to gently challenge that story. We're not going to replace it with blind optimism. Instead, we're going to introduce a little bit of doubt into the negative narrative. When your mind says, everything is ruined, ask it a simple question. Everything. Is absolutely everything ruined? Is the existence of trees ruined? Is the fact that ice cream exists ruined? It sounds silly, but it breaks the pattern. Or, when your mind says, I'll never be happy again, you can counter with, maybe. But I've been happy before. So the possibility exists. You're not trying to win an argument with your brain. You're just planting a seed of an alternative story. A story where things are hard, but not necessarily permanent. Another powerful tool is to borrow hope from others. When your own supply is completely empty, it's okay to lean on someone else's. This could mean calling a friend or family member who you know is a good listener, not to solve your problems, but just to hear their voice and be reminded that someone cares. It could also mean reading a book or watching a movie about someone who overcame incredible odds. Stories of resilience are all around us. They are proof that storms do pass. When you immerse yourself in these stories, you're essentially borrowing their evidence of hope until you can find your own. You're reminding your brain that the end of your current chapter is not the end of the entire book. There are more pages to come, and this brings me to a crucial point. creating something, anything. When we feel powerless, creation is a profound act of defiance. It says, even in this chaos, I can bring something new into the world. This doesn't mean you need to paint a masterpiece or write a novel. It could be as simple as rearranging the books on your shelf. It could be cooking a simple meal, even if it's just scrambled eggs. It could be doodling on a piece of paper or writing down 3 random words. The act of creation, no matter how small, shifts you from a passive victim of your circumstances to an active participant in your life. You are making a mark. You are asserting your existence. And in that simple act, there is immense power and a deep sense of hope. Finally, remember to be patient and compassionate with yourself. Finding hope is not a one-time event, it's a practice. Some days, you'll be able to find that spark easily. On other days, it will feel impossible, and you might slip back into that dark place. That's okay. That's part of the process. On those days, just go back to the beginning. Acknowledge the feeling. Shrink your focus to a single breath. Find one tiny thing that isn't terrible. The goal isn't to never feel hopeless again. The goal is to get better at navigating the feeling when it arrives. It's about building a toolkit so that each time the storm comes, you feel a little more prepared, a little more confident that you can weather it. Hope is not the absence of suffering. Hope is the belief that your suffering is not the end of the story. It's the quiet whisper that says, try one more time. It's the strength to take one more breath, to take one more step, to survive one more minute. You have that strength within you, even if you can't feel it right now. Keep looking for those tiny cracks of light. They are there, and eventually, they will be enough to guide you through. Thank you for spending this time with me. Please take care of yourself, and remember to subscribe for more content to help you navigate life's challenges.